Om Shanti and good evening. And it is my great pleasure. Is my voice audible? You can hear my voice?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. It is my great pleasure to be with all of you, my dear sisters and brothers, and thank you, Sister Maria, for your sweet introduction. So our topic today is about the power of silence in a Brahmin life. And power of silence is really a very important, vital power, pivotal power. It is one of the main powers required, if it is not the main one, because with the power of silence, many things related to our progress, to our development in this spiritual path happens in a systematic way, in a deep way, and in a way that we understand what is going on within, and in a way that also helps us to do whatever required. And Baba emphasized a lot on the power of silence. In many of the Murlis, he emphasized a lot on the power of silence. Repeatedly, he was saying, I look at you, souls, and I recognize how far you are filling yourself with power of silence, how far you are in silence. And in many of the conditions, he says that still you are not there. He says that your work on silence is not very systematic. He says that you don't experiment enough with the power of silence. And that is because he knows how far we went far away from our reality and how far we need to come back to our reality. He understands, he knows where we are now, where we were in the beginning, and where we are going to be. And he says, as stimulation to us, let others see the fruit. Souls are asking for the fruits, for the results. They want to see practical examples. And he says that it is only at this time that you are filling the bank at the confluence age. Other than this time, you will not have the same opportunity. And instead, that later you have the thought of repentance, and Baba, of course, speaks to all of us. Instead, that later you have the thought of repentance. Why didn't I do in the right time, or something like this? So you need to do it now. Baba says to all of us, we need to do it now. We need to do that effort now. And he gives the example of Brahma Baba, that based on his effort, based on what he have done, he was able to signal to the souls, and the souls were coming based on his based on his subtle signals, and they were attracted. And also give the example of daddies who, although they are very busy, but they are working on themselves, and they take the time to be with themselves. And that was the cause that they are reaching to their final perfect, or let's say karmatiyat stage. So the power of silence, the real silence is that in connection with Baba, in connection with God. Everything else is a false silence. Everything else is unrealistic silence. It is when we, as in the awareness of being a soul, connect with Baba and take from him the energy and all the inheritance. This is the real silence. When we are in bodiless stage and connect with him and create that atmosphere of dead silence, this is a real silence. And if we go more specific, it is the thing which we forgot for a long time. Yes, we come to the awareness of the soul, but there are specifications in the soul that we need to put in our mind, and we need to put actually in our awareness while we are connecting with the self and while we are connecting with Baba. It is that point which is immaterial, immortal, timeless, silent point. It is that awareness, living that awareness, experiencing with that awareness, and connecting with the point, with the Lord, with the silent emperor, in that awareness. That is the real silence, where we'll be able to take from him his vibrations, his qualities, and many things related to our inheritance from him. So, real silence requires incognito efforts.
Sister, sorry for interrupting you. They say if you can speak a little slower.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that. So I will repeat a little bit. So one of the important points that we need to be very specific in what we mean by awareness of the soul. It is that point which is immaterial, does not have a body, that point which is immortal, it is always there, that point which is timeless without the awareness of the time. With that awareness, we need to ignite the true silence. And based on that awareness, we connect with the emperor, with the silent emperor, with Baba as a point, full point, and connect with him, that accurate connection, and that which creates, which defines as accurate silence, and which creates the maximum results we want to get from this experience, from this connection. And Baba says that silence is incognito efforts. It is not like those practices of devotion. It is not like those practices of many paths. It is incognito, and it creates subtle experience. I remember in the last meditation course in August, 2 sisters participated in that course. Of course, there are more, but the experience of 2 sisters, one of them is from Iraq, and she was practicing pranic healing, which is a healing related to the chakras and healing, purifying the chakras. And she is an advanced level in this. And when she knew about or experienced connection with the soul, she communicated with me through WhatsApp. She said, "What is this? I have been practicing what is called as energy science since long time. And this is the first time I feel to be with myself all the time, testing my energy. I want to be with myself all the time, testing my energy." And another sister who is also in the field of energy, she said, "I studied energy, but this is completely different." So real silence is sweet, powerful, transformative, clear, and real silence is like the accurate mirror, which will allow us to realize without judging Okay, which will allow us. So pure, clear, true silence is like a mirror, which is clear, which will allow us to see and realize and progress without feeling defamed, without feeling of low self-respect because of that. Why silence? Why silence is important? Silence is extremely important. And if we will put one title, we can say that silence results in the transformation of myself, of others, and of the world. So first, for the self, real silence will help us. It is only through silence that we will get the strengthening of discerning power and judging power. Discerning power and judging power. Because of these two powers, we will be able to identify, examine clearly, and we'll be able to decide what to do accurately and aligned with the truth. Through this discerning and judging power, many problems related to our daily life will be not only solved but can be prevented. Many obstacles we can get rid of. And in relation to Maya, we'll be able to recognize Maya, identify Maya as clearly as she is, because Maya comes in a royal way, in a hidden way that we cannot identify, and it can invade us, and only after it reaches far advanced in her attack to us, then we will realize. So discerning power and judging power will help us to identify Maya and to deal at the right time. Also, controlling power, which is very important to have the sovereignty, the mastery over the self. Very important to have mastery over the self, and very important to deal with the thoughts, stop them at the right time, divert them at the right time, and not to allow the haziness and the foggy mind to progress further and further. Also, in addition to that, concentration power, because concentration power I needed in order to identify Maya, and that concentration power I will not get it unless if I am in silence, if I am in practicing the real silence and building in this silence. This is for the self. And regarding other transformation, Baba says in the Murlis that you will create your kingdom. You will create your kingdom through the power of silence. So what happens? When we connect with Baba, with that awareness, that accurate connection, then the transformation will happen. The transformation of us going back to the perfect form. And the more we practice that, the more we'll reach our karmatita stage, and we will reach to a stage where the knowledge are condensed and accumulated in the point of light, in the soul, which is called Vigyan. Gyan is knowledge, And Vigyan is silence. And when we don't have the awareness that there is knowledge, it is there, it is built in, it is absorbed. So working on the self for a long period of time, doing accurate effort, and please, whenever I go fast, just send me message. So when we are in that awareness, when we are in that identity, when we are in that stage, those vibrations in the of the Vigyan will spread, and that spread will help to a great extent to attract souls, to signal souls, to result in revelation, to result in souls realize that there is something here, result in the souls that they recognize Baba. They might have been introduced before and they did not accept, or they might not have introduced before. So they will realize that there is something here, and that is Baba. That's the one whom we were looking for. And that those vibrations also, when they affect the scientists and make the scientists understand that subtle thing about about the silence, when they understand that subtle thing about the silence, then they will be affected positively, they will be influenced, and they will use that that power in their inventions, in whatever thing they create for the golden age. Baba, in one of the Murlis, he was speaking about this. He was saying that both in order to transform the world from being peaceless to being peaceful, both authorities need to work together. The authority of science, if they use that elevated, subtle intellect, which is related to the silence, to the effect of silence, if they use this, they will be able to create accurate solutions, accurate inventions in the golden age. Baba said in that Murli that in the golden age, there are products of science which would be used there. So if they work together, that they will create the new world. And in the same Murli Baba, there was a scientist who got the Nobel Prize, and he attended that meeting. Again, he was speaking in personal meeting with the scientist. You do research. He was telling him, you are doing researches. So do your researches and see how far, when you add your science to that perfect, or let's say godly intellect, to that pure intellect product, if you add both of them, see what result you will get. And based on that, the new world will be created. So, and based on that, Baba many times say souls are calling you, and don't you hear the cries of the souls? And in many of the Murlis also sometimes says that souls will see your divine form on their TV, and they will realize that you are the ones whom they were looking for. On what basis Baba says this? He is saying this on the same basis, on the basis of that transformation which will happen to, as I described earlier, when we reach to that stage, when the Vigyan point, spread vibrations and affect, and that reaches to the souls. So, and other thing is the touching power and catching power. Many times Baba is speaking about calamities are there, and we have to be ever ready, and we have to be able at that time, at the time of need, at the time where there is no time, no time for us to to do the things, at the time where there might be no scientific facilities. So at that time, we should be able to catch what Baba sent to us, to catch Baba's things, and we should be touched by Baba. We should be ready to be touched by Baba. And what will create this? It is only that concentration power related to the effect of silence, and that deep soul consciousness will be able to get this. So power of silence is really very important power, very important power. So how to practice power of silence? Again, Baba many times says, go beyond, go beyond, go beyond, which is steps that we need to take in order to apply this. Go beyond, which is we choose to be aware of the point, be aware of the point, less of thoughts, less of understanding at that time of connection, just to be aware of that peaceful point. Just to be aware of that peaceful point. Be aware of that peaceful point. Be aware of the peace, and then detach from any identity related to the sense scars, to the emotions, to the feelings, to us. Then first awareness of the point, then to detach from this, and then to go deeper in the self, in the soul, and connect with the soul. So I become aware, I unplug and deepen that awareness. Then after that, I unplug at another step and leave this home, this world of identities and of this material world, leave this material world, leave this stage with my thoughts, and go to the home of souls, experience the silence, the eternity, the liberation, and there, in that awareness, again, the awareness of the point will be more concentrated. In that awareness, we connect with Baba. We connect with Baba. So we plug again to Baba, and we connect with Baba and experience his closeness. So if you don't mind, let us take 5 minutes, or maybe I'll try to make it short, just to experience this, and then we continue. Is that okay, Sister Maria?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Let's allow the bodies to settle. With one thought, we become aware of the soul. I am peaceful soul. It is awareness, not many thoughts, not analyzing and understanding, just aware I am a peaceful soul. We go deeper in the soul, in silence. You connect with the soul. We unplug from everything related to our sanskars, our feelings, our emotions. Come lighter and accentuate that connection with the soul. With the awareness of the soul, focused awareness in the middle of the forehead, we travel to the land of silence, land of liberation, land of eternity. And here the awareness of the point is also accentuated, increased, condensed. And here there is another light, supreme light, the point. He is calling me, attracting me, welcoming me. And here I plug to him. And connect point to point. Tasting his silence, his purity, his mercy. And just to stay in that awareness. Without awareness of anything else, just me and Baba. Now in one thought, I come back from my home to the awareness of the soul in the middle of this forehead. The awareness of here and now. Thank you. So, regarding the practice, Baba says to go beyond and stay beyond as long as you can. Stay beyond as long as you can. And Baba repeatedly in the Murlis, in the Milans, repeatedly ask us to have drills of being in silence, focused, and just in that silence. And repeatedly Baba says that the issue at the end is the issue of time. Many times he says It is a thought of 1 second. It is a thought of 1 second. So one thing is to be able quickly, when we are in upheaval, when we are in chaos, one thing to be able to be beyond whatever the atmosphere around us, but the other point, which is the time, whether it is seconds or minutes. Baba says this which will determine our status, our stage. This which will determine our status, our stage. This what has determined what determines the 8 jewels, that they are only 8. So that means that we need to practice this awareness and to try to shorten the time gradually. And we need to do this throughout the whole day. We need to do this throughout the whole day. So this is the first point, which is to be beyond. And the other thing which Baba is also speak about in regard to practicing is to be absorbed in love, absorbed in Baba's love, to be detached and loving, to hear and not hear, to see and not see, and that what Baba defines as sweet silence, as a sweet silence. So this is another practice, which is the seed stage, which Baba wants us to do, to practice. And of course, in order to do all of this, there are requirements. There are requirements. We cannot ask a mind which is always extroverted to come to do this practice in a few seconds or a few minutes. We have to be introverted to practice introversion, to go within as frequent as possible, to go within as frequent as possible. And of course, part of it is also to decrease the words which we are speaking. We are not always in need of the number of words we are using to express ourselves. We need really to be selective in what we say and when we say. The other thing, of course, in our life, it is an enemy, which is in Arabic we say it is shar la budda min, which means that it is something bad, but we cannot avoid it, and we know it. It is these mobiles and these social media. So we need to do the techniques which help us to be less affected, to decrease our temptation to be in that atmosphere of being with those devices, and to leave it only to the need as much as possible. Baba also speaks about being introverted and being in solitude. And what does he mean by solitude? He means by solitude being stable in a stage for short time, focus, concentrated time, whether it is seed stage, whether it is bodiless stage, whether it is avyakt stage, whether it is a lighthouse stage, which is the Lavline stage, to be in that stage and repeatedly practice being in this stage. repeatedly practice being in this stage. So we spoke about bodiless, the seed stage, which is when we are completely merged with Baba. We shift to a stage which without being aware that we shifted to that stage. And in that stage, there is complete detachment. There is bliss. There is complete silence. And the lighthouse stage, where we are focused as if we are sending vibes to the atmosphere. Other things, of course, which also required in order to get those stages, in order to get that connection, we need also to practice soul consciousness. The lesson number one. As I walk, the soul, I am moving this body. As I do, I am the soul who is doing through this body. I am the soul who is thinking. I am the soul who is understanding. Other thing also, there are things which impede our connection, which obstruct our connection, which prevent us from having good experience with Baba. When we identify ourselves with our weaknesses, we should know that Baba is looking to the best. Baba is looking to the original. And Baba is not identifying with these weaknesses. And we should try to offer these weaknesses to Baba, and based on that, we will be able to feel that we are accepted by Baba, and that acceptance by Baba helps us to a great extent not to identify by these weaknesses, and that acceptance will result in a stage of belonging. And that belonging will help to increase and focus and deepen the connection. One of the things that we should practice always is remembrance, of course. So unless I know who Baba is, unless I know how loving Baba is, unless I know how he is helping us to leave aside all our previous sense cards, and in that connection, he brings all the beautiful things within, And when he brings all the beautiful things within, he also, one of the things which come from within is that desire to serve not as the fourth component of the categories of our path, but desire to serve based on that connection with Baba. We feel that we also want to be part of that act of transformation. We feel the connection with our brother souls, brother sisters, brother souls, our sisters and brothers, and we feel that we want to be part to save them from the darkness they are in. In that connection, when it is so deep, we'll be able to see the real us, the deity, the angel, the eternal identity. And this will increase our trust, increase our faith, increase our belief that what we do is right and we should continue. I remember in one of the silence retreats, it was in the afternoon, I was sitting in meditation. We were a group, and while we were in that meditation, for me, suddenly I experienced an energy which is completely blissful, completely peaceful, joyful, and clear. I experienced something within me, and I realized that this is the real soul consciousness which we are speaking about. This is the real soul consciousness. And from this, I got the experience of getting the sensing my energy in the golden age. And because the soul consciousness is our energy in the golden age. And that made me realize that, yes, we are doing our efforts, but still there is long to be done, long to be in that awareness, and to practice that incognito effort of silence in order to be that which will be in the golden age. It is the same soul who will be there. So that is, let's say, one of the benchmarks for me in my journey. That experience created that benchmark for me in my journey. So to practice, to summarize, to be beyond, and the awareness of short time is very important. To be in that sweet silence when we are merged in love, absorbed in love, detached and loving, and when we are see but not see, hear but not hear, to be introverted and concentrated in solitude in a specific stage, and to do all the preparation to be able to be in that. Of course, attention is very important. Realizing that this is a need, this is not luxury for us, for others, and for the new world. It is something, a need. It is a healing which is required, a process which has to continue to be able to reach to what we want. And of course, other than that, we can use, Baba also explains about to expose ourselves to his zakash, to expose ourselves to his zakash. So that is good awareness and practice to allow the third eye to focus in Babdada, in the Satar region, and that will, having that pure energy from Baba will help us to transform and will help us to absorb additional energy which help us in the journey. The attention to Mansa Seva, it is very important, and it will, first it helps us because it will again increase the storage, the reservoir of silence. And based on that, we need that that zakash will, Mansa Seva will accumulate more in us and will be able to give others from that energy. I remembered one analogy Daddy Janki spoke about, which is nice analogy about connection with Baba. She said it is like a lamp. The wick, the thread, is representing the thread. First the wick, and then we have the, what is it called? Yeah, the oil, and then the protection. The wick has to be protected from everything negative, from our connection with everything in this world, from our sense cars, from our the awareness of our position, from the attachment, from the old sense cars. So we have to protect that wick from this. And the oil represent the positive qualities, that those qualities will act like oil. And when this happens, when the spark of love from Baba comes, then it will ignite that lamp. And this has to continue, It should not be stopped quickly. This has to continue for a long time in order for that light, to that spark, that fire to continue to create the transformation we want. So this means that we need to make our remembrance as long as possible, as frequent as possible, to keep that fire burning and burning. It is a cool burning, it is a nice burning, subtly removing the alloy and bringing the shine within. So I think it is now, it is 8:19. If you like, Maria, I can take 3 minutes in meditation, or you can go directly to the questions and answers.
Okay, thank you so much for what you share. It's really so important. All those things that you shared. I think there are not any questions yet, but just one question from here is, okay, everything you shared was perfect, but there is a but. Do we need company to do that? Because sometimes we are all around running here and there for service or whatever, and then we try to do it and then we don't find the time, and probably we need some company, some Brahmin, some teachings or whatever. So can you spend 1 minute for that, and then we can have some meditation, which is really very important, unless if there is any other question.
Yeah, very nice question. Yeah, first of all, yes, I agree with you, and I will come back to this point. But again, let's have as much as possible. The motivation comes from, at least when we say why to be in silence. Why, when we have the why very big, that means this will help me to do effort, at least to start with. I have to have the why very clear for me in order to do the effort. Yes, I agree with you. The other point also, the importance of gathering. In the gathering, it might be, it depends on the atmosphere, of course. It might be 1 or 2 persons. It depends on the company in that place. It might be a center. It depends on that atmosphere. But in general, first, in the gathering, it is good in the gathering as much as possible to try to create a soft atmosphere, nice atmosphere with understanding as much as possible, because that will help to create an atmosphere which is ready to be in silence. And the second thing also, to take whatever opportunities to meditate in a group. It might be a group of 2, 3, 4. It depends on the number. This is very important. It is good to have as much as possible plans for silence time, for meditation, plans for silence days, can be for silence days. So the presence in the gathering is very important and help to a great extent. It is very important also that every one of us in that gathering realize the importance of being in that gathering and help to maintain the atmosphere of gathering. But having silent days is very good also, because we are speaking and we are moving and acting. So when we settle in silence, that helps a lot for much of this internal work to happen in a nice way. It might be sometimes disturbing in the beginning, but when we understand the process, we trust the process and we continue ready to face these things. I hope that answered the question.
Thank you so much. And there is another question here. Can you explain more about vegan?
Yeah. Baba and Murli speak about Gyan and Vigyan. And Vigyan, he describes it as silence. And also, the Gyan is the knowledge. Vigyan, when the knowledge which we studied, with which we experienced, this is underlined, to experience the knowledge, to experience the knowledge, to experience the points, to experience what we are listening to. And based on that, that knowledge will will result in a state, we call it Vigyan, where there is knowledge, but there is no awareness of knowledge. For example, now if I'm speaking, I will tell you, I know about this and this and this. But in the Vigyan, all the knowledge is there, all the deep knowledge is there, all the significances are there, all the result of all the experiences are there, but they are merged in the point, silent, settle. And from that, the vibrations will emerge, because if we are in that stage, that full, abject, angelic stage, that means we are completely detached, we are loving and detached, we are there but not there, we are listening but not focusing, we are between this world of material and that world of home of souls. We are in the abject awareness. So with that, those vibrations help in all the transformation, which I hinted to. It doesn't mean that I have all the knowledge about this. This is some knowledge present, which I spoke about. At this time, we settle the instrument, the vehicle, and the soul chooses to be aware of the self, the peaceful soul. And to detach from every label related to the role. To be focused in silence within. And from here, the soul chooses to travel with the thought to the home of souls. Experiencing silence. Experiencing the comfort of the home. And here, the silent emperor senses the presence of this loving soul and he chooses to pull the point to him, connecting soul to soul, light to light, love to love. Being the best of the soul, accepting the soul fully, and the soul goes closer with the sense of belonging, belonging to that supreme energy. There is surrender, there is trust. In this connection and in this relationship, there is belief that I found the Father, and the Father found me. And that bring the 2 points closer and closer, as if they are 1 point together. In this connection, there is love, purity, there is understanding that the soul forget all the weaknesses, just offer them to the divine. And as if the divine in that connection assures the soul that it is certain that you will progress and reach to your perfect stage. It is certain, it is distant. You are an angel. You are dead. And with that awareness of being with Baba, we, brother souls, connect. We connect as being in the homes of souls, and we connect now through this screen. But the awareness is much deeper. It is beyond this screen. It is the awareness of unity, of being the children of Baba, the masters, the Shakti army, with a great self-respect and faith in the ground and Baba and self.